Hey everyone, Stegar here and welcome back to Hunterville. In today's episode I want to be working along this main road to try and bridge the gap between the two separate parts of the city we currently have. And I'm considering also doing some more houses over here. I probably won't show much of that off camera this time around as we had a big suburbs episode last time. I also want to change some things with this bridge. I kind of wanted to make it very apparent that there used to be a road here, and I kind of didn't achieve what I wanted here, so I want to redo it. And also maybe put some trees or shrubs or something through this empty area of gravel. I also changed a lot of textures using Theme Mixer 2, as when I was last playing on this map, which was like 3 months ago. I think that mod had only just come out and I hadn't had a chance to mess with things yet. We've also got the rail yard over here that I built in episode 7, and some industrial here that I built in episode 6 as well, and the metro track that gradually inclines up to this elevated station over here. But with all that said, let's head over into the time lapse now. So here I'm starting off by upgrading this road to a 4-lane boulevard. I just wanted to do it here because I feel like there would be space for the road to be widened, as there's going to be quite a few new buildings along here compared with some of the older ones in other parts of the city, and with having older buildings here you wouldn't be able to destroy them. Destroy stuff and widen the road like you could here where I'm placing these car dealerships. I've placed down a Mercedes-Benz car dealership as well as a Kia dealership just here, and I'm just putting in some little parking lot things so that I guess test cars can park there and people can go take them for a drive down the street and just get stuck in all the traffic along the main road. Anyway, I'm putting the car dealerships along the main road because I feel like it's something that I've seen a lot in real life, and they kind of seem to be centered around main roads, so that I guess people can stare at all the flash new cars when they're stuck in gridlock traffic on their morning commute or something. Here I'm just doing what I tend to always do with these particular parking lot roads, and just kind of squaring them off at the end because I don't like how they work. And here I'm doing the road layout for some houses that we'll build in this episode. I actually did decide to do quite a bit of that, as I mentioned in the live play that I might do. I did actually record that before I started recording this episode today. Usually I'll just kind of go back and after and record it once I've recorded the episode, but this time I actually decided to do it before I even knew what I was going to do. Because yeah, I just open up an old save game and record it that way, but yeah. Anyway, here I'm building like the main street. There's a McDonald's along that main street, as well as one of those big office buildings that just kind of fills up heaps of space there, and some houses that you would have seen me use in the last episode if you watched that one. They're the same houses. I'm currently working on some different style ones for other parts of the city, and I'm about halfway through creating those ones. I have about 30 and I want about like nearly 60 or something of the new houses that I'm currently working on. And here is on the other side in the suburb that we worked on last episode. I wanted to change this bridge like I mentioned, and I also decided to add in that roundabout. I didn't really detail the inside of the roundabout, as I kind of feel like it just looks a lot better in terms of like how the cars can see around the roundabout if there's nothing in the middle. So you just got the little grass sprite showing through and nothing else really. And also just kind of tweaking around with this bridge to make it look like it has been fit in here, and kind of go for what I wanted to do, which was to have it separate from the old road, and the old road's still there. And also just changing that to a little alley so it fits in with the space a little bit better, and doesn't really kind of do a whole lot of weird things with the edge of the bridge, as it kind of changes elevation really quickly and looks really distorted. And also putting these like supports under the bridge so that, or abutment I guess you could call it, just so that where it doesn't necessarily need to be fully elevated, it's just been built up onto this concrete thing. And yeah, I'm just using the concrete walls here to do that, and changing the heights and things once I've got it all lined up with the edge of the road. I found this was the easiest way to do this, as it just kind of ensures that I get everything in the right place, and then I also add nodes using the electrics mod to make it a lot easier to work with and stuff. And just adding a few trees and bushes here and there where there's a bit of space. I think I mentioned in the last episode that this would have all been houses at one stage, and they got bulldozed and that road beside it got put through to connect up with the rest of the area. And yeah, here's the trees that I'm putting down after I was doing all those grass surfaces and things. And I mean, this area is pretty much the same as the last episode. I'm just dragging a fence through, and just using this chain link fence to kind of make it seem as though it's been fenced off by some authority or something and people don't want them in there, and just filling that space up with weeds. This is the little area that I changed. I wasn't really planning on doing too much here, but I felt like since it's on the corner of the roundabout, some houses would have been bulldozed. And you might have noticed that one of the houses just changed. I think I needed to do one with a corner that had the fences on both sides, because most of my houses only have fences on one side and some on the back and some don't, and it just kind of ensures that none of the fences will overlap. It's probably a bit overkill for what I want to do, but yeah, that's what I've done with this series so far. I've had a whole bunch of like 4 different types of houses of each dimension, like 3x4 and 2x4 so far, and some have fences on all 4 sides, some have fences on like 2 sides or 3 sides and stuff, and it all just works nicely, but it's probably like a lot of effort. And here I'm just filling in some weeds in this kind of gravel area. I apologise if the camera's a bit fast. I kind of did this one without turning the camera speed down on speed slider, as I'd been flying around the city looking at stuff on full speed, and yeah, so that's why it might seem a bit fast. But here I was just trying to create some little grass patches. I think I ended up just deciding that that area could all be grass, and did that off camera, and yeah, you see the change now. And just adding these gravel decals around the place to kind of make it not look like such a sharp change in the ground cover or whatever. And I think I also kind of changed the heights of those so they're not covering the railway networks as well and stuff. And here I'm just building houses along the edge of the road, as well as filling out these blocks now too. I mentioned that along the railway line is probably not the nicest place to live, as it'd kind of get loud with cargo trains and stuff, but I guess you'd get used to that, and it probably would just be a normal thing after a while, that you're used to hearing a freight train roll through at like 4:30 in the morning. Probably not loud enough to wake you up, so you maybe wouldn't hear it. And along these edges where the kind of square houses don't really fit in, I'm just creating a little park and using one of these park live paths to kind of create a little dead end where people can sit on these benches and maybe just escape or something. I think there's also a few other little paths that I put in here, or parks, not paths, like this one on the corner, which is pretty basically detailed, and also adding some older buildings along the street to kind of make it seem as though they've always been here, and that's why this road isn't wider. There's also the like rail depot thing on the other side, or it's just a random warehouse, but it looks like a workshop where they might work on locomotives that I built when I built the rail yard. That's on the other side of this road, and kind of just stops it from being able to be wider with avenues and stuff. And here just putting in a parking lot, because I wasn't really sure how else to fill this space, so parking lot it is. Also, we need a lot of parking throughout the city probably. I think I have enough for now, but that could change as we get more residents and things, as kind of all the commercial and industrial isn't really representative of how it should be. As you can see, we've got quite a bit of residential demand at the moment. Over the next few episodes I do actually tackle a huge amount of residential in the city, and yeah, you'll see that in the coming episodes. But yeah, just working on some kind of using these little allotment houses from the European Suburbia pack, and just covering them with fences and some other things to try and detail around them, as this is kind of an awkward space to be using my houses that are kind of got a square footprint and have the fences all around them. So I'm just kind of basically doing what I did in the asset editor, but actually in game. And also here I can use the network fences, whereas when I'm making assets in the asset editor, it limits you to only using prop fences, and comes up with a big error if you try and place network fences in the buildings. And here's just a little playground for the area, so that kids can go out and enjoy their afternoons or something when they get home from school or something. The nearest school is over the bridge in the other suburb that we worked on last episode. I'll probably put one kind of further along the suburb in some other episode, but I didn't work on any schools today. But yeah, that could come in a future episode. And here I'm just working on some random little old industrial building that I kind of just wanted to fill the space with and continue working along the main road, as that was kind of the main focus of this episode, is to get a lot of buildings along that main road built so that it all connects up with the other side of the city. And here also just adding in some trucks and things, and just making it look a little bit more alive rather than some empty warehouse, even though it does look kind of abandoned from the building textures and stuff. And just putting down some like vanilla pallets and crates and things, just to kind of make it look like there's stuff going on here, and decals to just kind of roughen it up and make it not look so like undetailed or anything. And putting in a little hotel here too. We don't really have many hotels in the city, and I feel like we need to add to that before we move into the suburbs completely, because the next few episodes are pretty much just going to be focused on suburbs around this area. And yeah, here I was putting in like a little underground parking lot. I haven't really done this in like a few episodes, so it's nice to do, even though it's like second nature by now. Just put down some fences and things. I think I'm using like railway retaining walls that are supposed to work with like the railway replacement networks or something, but yeah, just using them as a different texture from what I've used in the past, which is just the plain concrete walls that I usually use, and just changing things up, and also making a slope thing. I fill it up with some ploppable surfaces that I converted to procedural objects to just try and make it look a bit different. Like here I'm just clicking the wrong keys and it's rotating the wrong way, but I finally get it here, and kind of just stepping that up into what I want. And also, yeah, just repetitive now. I don't think there's actually that much left of the episode, but yeah, we kind of just work on some more houses and things, and I think this is the last block, but I sort of fill it up with some other little apartment buildings and things, as you'll see in a minute. The one thing I haven't mentioned so far, is I'm just kind of trying to get stuck on what to say, is that I changed all the cars and things. They were the vanilla cars, but I decided to finally get around to changing that in this episode. I kind of figured that if I was going to get a whole lot of car props for my car dealerships, then it'd be a good time to change all that, and I basically just made a huge collection of vehicles and vehicle props and stuff that I think is public on Steam. It might be private though, but I'm basically just using that to set aside all the vehicles that I want, because I can also reference it in future projects, or if I decide to use them in my Fairview project as well. But yeah, here's just creating like some little outdoor seating, and filling it with a few trees and things, as you'll see in a minute. I don't actually know what these props are, but I just know I have them, and that they look nice, but they kind of look too flash to be used everywhere, as I think all the tables are set and things. Yeah, here's where I'm adding in the trees. I've still got that problem with snapping of the trees as they try and snap to the ground, but I've got tree snapping on, so I can raise them and lower them as I want, and just copy pasting some houses, because I couldn't really be bothered with doing all that detailing again, or not even detailing, just like random placement and stuff. Yeah, here's the little apartments that I was talking about earlier, but yeah, now I'm just filling out this area with power lines. I'll probably just cut the rest of this out and skip to the cinematics, but if you've enjoyed this episode, then leave a like, and if you're new to my channel and want to see more of my videos, then subscribe and ring the notification bell. That way you get notified whenever I upload a video, which should be next week. After a while of being able to only do fortnightly uploads, I'm back to weekly uploads now. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.